Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome, or hopefully it's welcome back to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is the United Kitchens. And joining me every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, celebrity chef and certified nutritionist, Ricki McKenna. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to my kitchen. This is Ricki's Kitchen.
Ricki's Kitchen is always whipping up something that's amazing. You've got those beautiful flowers in the background and some lovely soft music. And I know my mom is excited for the show today because she marked it on Facebook that she wanted to watch it because of the chili.
Oh, great. Welcome, Mom.
Welcome to all the moms and everybody out there who's looking for another wonderful recipe from Ricki. Before you start whipping it up, I'd love to just spotlight you and share with our audience, especially our first-time visitors. We want to make them full-time followers, Ricki. So share with them a little bit about your passion for food and your background.
Well, thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. I am Ricki McKenna, and I've been a certified nutritionist since 1999. That's a long time ago. And I've also been a chef for many, many years. I have worked with everything from kindergarten kids and pre-kindergarten kids and teaching them about food, all the way through corporations and individual CEOs and moms and the whole gamut of people. Working with them on nutrition and the idea that food is the basis for your health. And in doing that, I have held seminars for corporations and companies, and even held some interesting combinations of things with a dressing for success and how do you eat for success. So it's a whole different background. And I'm constantly taking new classes and new courses because, as you know, things about nutrition and food seem to change rapidly in the news. So I have to keep up with things. I'm a member of several professional organizations, including the National Association of Nutritional Professionals. And with that comes a lot of very interesting information about how we're working through the United States and internationally as far as nutrition goes, and helping people understand that food is the basis for their health. So,
thank you so much. And Ricki, as a result of having you on our platform here at USA Global TV, I've learned so much about food and also about myself. I'm certain that I have a multitude of food allergies. As soon as my eczema calms down, I am slated to go and have a blood test to check for that, because even though we can eliminate processed foods, we could still have allergies to organic and natural food as well, correct?
That is correct. And it's unfortunate in many cases because I have several clients who are allergic to onions, garlic, sometimes olive oil. So there is there's a gamut of food sensitivities out there of which many people are not aware. So getting tested is imperative. And whether you do the Alcott test, which covers about 500 different things for allergies, you can get up to that. And there are other testings out there that are very important to find out if you're not particularly allergic. Even just a sensitivity can be horrible to deal with. And I'll give you an example of something like your food problems, celiac disease, which is definitely a disease. If a person with celiac has a fingernail sliver's worth of gluten, it's gluten sensitivity, but it's gluten allergy. Just a sliver of a fingernail's worth of gluten can trigger the problems, the digestive problems, the skin problems, and so on. So definitely get yourself tested. And if there's anything I can do, please let me know. I'm here for you.
Thank you so much, Ricki. And just to close out with the allergies, it was years ago. I don't know if it still is, but I went to University of Pennsylvania and they gave you patches that they put across your back and you had to wear them, I think, for 2 or 3 days without getting them wet. And now
Whoa.
they've moved up to, I believe you can get blood tests for all these different allergies.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's so much better than wearing all those patches across your back.
Oh, they used to prick your skin and do the patches. Yes. As I say, in nutrition and in medicine, fortunately, advances are being made every day. So to keep up with all of it, I do a lot of reading and I do a lot of cooking. So definitely, yeah, get the tests. And the best way for you to do it is what your doctor thinks is the best. So good luck with that.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm excited for your latest masterpiece. I'm going to spotlight you and I'll be interacting from backstage.
Good. I love it. Thank you. All right. As I said, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to do a couple of interesting things. We're going to prepare a very simple, easy white winter chili, or winter white chili, as it were. And we're using ground turkey rather than any other kind of meat. Now, you can do this if you're vegetarian. You can definitely eliminate the ground turkey and just use the other ingredients. There's two kinds of beans. We're using cannellini or northern beans, and we're using garbanzo beans. As a matter of fact, just to let you know, one of the things I found out when I did my testing was garbanzo beans are not the best for me to digest, which is rather interesting because I absolutely love them. And sometimes a food to which you're allergic is something that you crave, which sounds counterintuitive, but absolutely is the case in many cases. So be aware of that. But we're going to do it with ground turkey, which is, I got the 83% lean rather than the 90 something percent lean because I wanted the fat in the recipe because it's chili and I wanted the juice in there. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our olive oil, good old olive oil, and we're going to put about a tablespoon of it into the pot and get that heating. And I want to mention something today that I'm doing as well. Not only, excuse me, I was cutting onions before. Not only are we going to do the recipe, but what I'm going to do today is show you how to cut a recipe in half. How many of us have found absolutely wonderful recipes that serve 4, 6, 8 people? And that's too much. We want to cut it in half, and sometimes even more than that. But today we're going to cut it in half. And I'll show you how to successfully do that with considering the spices and everything else in it. So excuse me 1 second. Okay. I do like to have my hands clean. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wait to hear the sound of the chili or the olive oil in the pan. We're not quite there yet, but the first thing we're going to do is I took a pound of the ground turkey and I cut it in half. So I've got half of it here. And when you put your ground turkey or any meat into oil, make sure that you help break it up. Even if it is ground, I'm going to slide it in there carefully. And make sure, let me see if I can do this. All right.
I was just going to ask you if you're going to switch to the
Becky, here we go.
2-shot.
How's that? We got
Looks good.
Okay, I'm going to turn my heat down. And by the way, heating up your olive oil depends, of course, on the stove that you're using, on the range that you're using. If it's an electric range, which this is, an ordinary one, you can just make sure you know how fast your stove heats up. Because you don't want to burn it, you just want it to brown. So you can see I'm breaking it up. So it will start to brown very shortly. And we'll let that start. I'm on about medium high with that. And while that is simmering away or sauteing away, let's see if I can do this right. Ah, we're back. Hello.
Brilliant.
I'm going to take my onion because what's chili without onions? This recipe officially calls for 3/4 of a cup of onion finely diced. So half of 3/4 would be just under, just a little bit over 1/3 of a cup. But again, since I'm an intuitive chef, we're going to do whatever comes out here with this onion. I've got a yellow onion that I'm going to slice. Oops.
Ricki, what are your thoughts of purchasing chopped onions that are already chopped up for you? I'm sure it's more money, but it could eliminate the tears.
It's more expensive, but it does eliminate the tears. But another way of alleviating a little bit of the tears is to cut away from the root. If the root is on this side, that's the part that's got all the stringy stuff, that's been in the ground. Cut the other side first, because the root is where all the juices gather, and it's a stronger thing that may help make you cry.
Oh,
so what I'm doing right now is dicing up my onion to make about 1/3 of a cup, which is half of what the recipe calls for. So in other words, we're going to chop it up as fine as I can get it, although I don't want to do it too fine because we like the chunky onion. And again, as an intuitive chef, I would put in more of something that I really love. So let's see how much onion I got here. It's amazing what happens when you chop an onion and you have a whole onion and you think, oh my gosh, I need that much. Start with a smaller part of it because it chops up to more than you really believe.
Ricki?
Yeah.
How should one decide if it's I know the recipe calls for a yellow onion, but a yellow, a white, a red?
Okay, if the recipe calls, then that's about half a cup there. If your recipe calls for white onion or yellow onion, they're pretty comparable, depending on whether you get a sweet onion or just a regular onion. And the red onion has a definitely different flavor, and it will also add a little color to whatever you're cooking. So we're using white onion. It's really up to you as far as I'm concerned. If it calls for onion, use your choice. I'm going to put the half a cup in with my turkey and mix that around. And we'll get back here in a minute as soon as I put a few other things in. And so the next thing that we're going to put in are garbanzo beans. And excuse me, let's do the garlic first. Because garlic, there's nothing that smells better than garlic, onions, and olive oil. In this recipe, here's another thing. This recipe calls for 2 cloves of garlic, 1 clove of garlic. And I have about the equivalent of 2 large cloves of garlic that I'm going to dice up because we like garlic. And so I'm going to use a little bit more than the recipe officially calls for. And even though I'm cutting it in half, this is our preference. So I'm making it this way to suit us. So in that way, that's how you personalize a recipe. So I'm going to take the garlic. So as you can see, everything is going to go into that one pot very shortly. Now, I have to tell you a story. I've got my cannellini beans here. I've got a can of organic cannellini beans, and it calls for rinsing them and draining, or draining and rinsing them, which we'll do now. And while I'm doing that, I got to keep my eye on the turkey in there because it is going to cook. So I'm just going to give it a quick rinse. I hope everybody can see. Yep. Till it stops foaming. And the idea is to get the starch out of the can. And let's just put those beans right in there. The recipe called for 2 cans. We're only using 1.
Any reason why?
Well, we're cutting it in half.
Oh, that's right. Hello. Okay.
Yeah. That's okay. Now, as far as the garbanzo beans, I've already used half the can. And when I store things, I store them as much as I can in glass. So I have half the can called for of garbanzo beans. So we're putting those right in. And we'll mix all that up so we get the juices starting here. And we'll go back to the other camera so I can show you what we're doing. I really do need an engineer.
You need an assistant for
An
sure.
assistant. Nope, that's not it. Wait a minute. We have too many choices here. Okay, one more time. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Okay. Now, I'm going to give this a good mix so I get everything mixed together. Get those beans in there. And the more you cook beans, the less propensity they will have to make you have a digestive problem. Or as my father used to say, beans, beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. Which is one of those silly things, you know, from childhood that you remember.
Yes.
Okay, our next thing is 4 ounces. 4 ounce, we took a 4 ounce, which is the little cans of green chilies. And so I'm going to put in 2 ounces, which is half the amount that the recipe calls for, and mix that around. I chose the mild green chilies because just to do something different for a change, because we're going to spice it up a little bit anyway. And I'm not sure if you can see. I'll show you this for just a second. Let's
Yes.
see in the middle. That's the finished product.
Oh, it's
And
beautiful.
we garnished it. It's pretty. We garnished it with chopped up green onions and chopped cilantro. You can also garnish it with things like radishes or any other more colorful things if you want to, because basically what's missing in a white chili is tomatoes. So now for the rest of the goodies, I'm going to show you my favorite trick for putting together the chicken broth that'll go in. It calls for 1.5 cups of either turkey or chicken broth. And I'm using base. So 1 cup is usually a teaspoonful of the base. So we're going to use a heaping teaspoonful just because I like the thickness of it and the taste. And I'm going to use boiling water that I've boiled in my kettle to dissolve it, because when you put boiling water into something that's already hot, it doesn't stop the cooking process. So if I were to put this in with cold water, the whole cooking process would be slowed down. It literally stops the cooking until everything catches up with it again. So we call for 1.25 cups, and I've got just about a cup because I want the liquid in there. It will boil down, it will reduce. And so I've got my chicken broth mixed up. We're going to pour that in. And that'll kind of stop the noise for a minute, or the, there it is. I'm going to turn it up a little bit, up a little higher. And let me show you how wonderful that looks, because we're getting our liquid together.
Yummy.
Yeah, how much more juicy it's gotten. So in there we have our onions, we have the chilies, we have, of course, the ground turkey, the cannellini or northern beans, and garbanzo beans. And let's see, now we're going to put in a little bit of spice. And my neighbor, a sweet friend of mine, was delightful enough to endow me with fresh oregano. And this calls for, see, we've got just about everything in there except the jalapeno, which I'm going to leave for a minute. I'll show you how to cut that in a minute. But I've got some fresh oregano. the leaves. She was absolutely wonderful and brought me a whole bag full of it. And I have to show you something, and I think I'm going to do it right into the pot so you can actually see it. How to take the oregano off the vine, so to speak, and put it in to anything. It calls for just a teaspoon of oregano, but since we have fresh oregano, I'm going to use a little bit more. I'm also cutting it down. You can see it boiling now. As I said, some of that liquid will reduce, which is great because all the spices come together. I'm going to show you how to take the oregano that's fresh. When you have something like this, can everybody see that? I'm going to take the leaves off the top, the little bitty leaves, carefully. So I have the oregano stem that's still left. And then here's where we have fun. If you grab the stem, I hope everybody, I'm trying to see how I can, there we go. And then you take your fingers and you hold on, and off come the leaves. And then I'll just sprinkle
So easy.
Isn't that easy? Yep, we're going to do 2 of these, so you get the idea. As I said, take the leaves carefully off the top so you can hold on to the stem. And you can do this with other herbs as well. These are fresh. So we're going to put the fresh oregano in there. Oh gosh, it's beautiful. I wish you could smell this. It's beginning to smell absolutely fabulous. And since that was probably about a little over a teaspoon, I'm going to put about another big pinch of the oregano in there, because we love oregano as well. And mix that around. And now for a little more spice, we're going to add some cumin. And the spices actually, let me get back here. The spicing calls for a teaspoon each of cumin, paprika, and oregano, and 3 tablespoons of chopped jalapeno. But the jalapeno that I picked, I believe, is pretty darn strong. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to show you how to first cut it. And please remember not to put your hands anywhere near your face when you're working with something like this. And I don't care which end you start from, it's still going to get in your eyes. So I'm carefully cutting out the jalapeno, and I've got about an inch piece, an inch worth of both sides. And I'm going to carefully cut the seeds out. And then we'll chop that up as fine as we can. Be really careful when you're taking these seeds out, not to let them squirt all over the place. And when you're done with everything, if you're using a cutting board or a surface like I am, which is the board surface, make sure you cleaned it off carefully with soap. And then rinse it very carefully so you get it really clean. So that gets discarded. And then I'm going to take my big knife and cut up my jalapeno. Chop it up as fine as I can. Let's dice it. Woo boy. As I said, it's a strong one. Even this, I can feel the fumes in my eyes. So we're going to just cut it up a little finer. Here we go. And very carefully pick it up from the wood. And I've got about a tablespoon. And since it calls for 3 tablespoons, but we're cutting the recipe in half, this will be fine. Unless you really love your jalapenos and you want to add some more. And the rest of our seasonings, we have cumin. And what I'm saying about the seasonings is when you have the recipe in half, the spices, you can either cut down on them or you can actually use the same amount of spice and it will make it a little bit more intense in the spice department. So I'm taking a teaspoon of cumin, And we happen to like cumin, so that's really going to be good. And then what I'm taking is paprika. And it calls for a teaspoon also of the paprika. And the paprika will really give it a delicious flavor. And incidentally, just for fun, paprika was another one of those things that my digestive system after testing was not supposed to be able to really do well with. But I only use it occasionally, so we're living dangerously. Anyway.
Good thing it's the weekend, Ricki.
Right. So far, so good. Now, the other thing is cayenne pepper. So it's calling for a teaspoon, no, excuse me, a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now, here's where you use your discernment since you're cutting the recipe in half. You can use half a teaspoon, you can measure it, or you can just sprinkle to your heart's content, which is what I'm going to do right now. It's probably half a teaspoon, maybe. But for me, that's enough. Okay, and then I'm going to dunk that in there, and I'll show you how we're getting. You can see, as soon as I switch the camera, this is so much fun. It works, though. Can everybody see how it's starting to reduce? That you can see less liquid and more
yes,
the beans and the meat. Yeah, that's exactly what you want. It's boiling, and I'm going to turn it down because this is something you can do within our time frame. We've only been doing this for about 20 minutes right now. And so this will be ready within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Ready to serve. And I'm going to add just a teeny pinch of salt. Okay. And of course you can check the seasoning once you take it out, just before you take it out to serve. And this should make enough for 2 to 3 people, depending on how much they're actually going to eat each. Now the next thing we're going to do is cut up the garnishes. And so far already I have cut some green onions. We have them here. You can do as much as you like or as little as you like. And you can put them in just as you serve it, or you can put them in a little bit before. If you put them in a little before you serve it, not just when it's fresh, when you take it out and put it in a dish and then decorate it. Or you can put it in and let them cook a little bit, let them soften. I happen to like the crunch and the taste of the green onions on top of it when they're raw. And I've also cut up some cilantro, which we will also put in on top as a garnish. Just one other thing I wanted to mention about the cilantro. This is very pretty. And I think last week we did this with parsley. But what we do is when you get your bunch of organic whatever home, whether it's parsley or cilantro, cut the bottoms off about an inch or so, and then make sure everything gets really, really cleaned well. Wash it well, and then plant it in a glass of filtered water and put it in your refrigerator. That way, whether it's parsley or cilantro or even celery, put it in a glass standing upright in your refrigerator, and it will stay for days. So you can just pull out what you need and use what you need when you need it. So that'll help keep it fresher.
Ricki, we do have a question. I'm not sure exactly. This is at 25 after the hour. Did she say wash it with soap?
The cilantro?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's interesting because I'll show you a veggie wash that I use. And you can get these in the store. Most of the stores now will carry fruit and veggie wash. It's a spray bottle. And what I do is I take out all my produce when I buy it. When I first bring it home, I take it and I put it in the sink and I spray it with the veggie wash and leave it sitting there for about a minute or two. And then if it's really dirty, if I bring home something like beets, like we used last week, then I scrub. But I fill the sink with tepid water. It's cool, really. And let things sit in it with the veggie wash and then rub them off and drain them. But with the cilantro, what I'll do is just dunk it in the water and swish it around a little bit and then open it up and rinse it off very carefully under running water, so that you get if there's any soap in it, things like Swiss chard or kale or something like that, you can see where it will collect the soap. So take it out of the bath with the veggie wash and then rinse it off very carefully. It's good to have a spray, actually, to help you with doing that in many cases. But yes, I do use soap, especially today, because frankly, I don't know whose hands have been on what vegetables before I buy them. I try to get things from the back to make sure they're fresh from, when they pile the things in the bins.
Yes.
So I will pick things from the back so that not too many hands have been on them, we hope. But absolutely, definitely, a veggie wash is in order.
And Ricki, thank you. The follow-up question, and I know we're not paid spokespersons for any specific kind of brand, but what kind of veggie wash do you use?
This is actually from Truly Free. I get it online. And the company is mygreenfills.com. And I'm happy to give them a plug because I also use their detergent for my washing. And you use maybe 1/4 of a cup for a full load of washing, and it comes out smelling clean. And one more thing about that. If you're using dryer sheets to fluff up your wash or your drying and to keep it from being staticky, please stop. Those things are horribly poisonous. They're terribly toxic, and they put chemicals into your clothes so that they smell like that. I know I've walked past homes and, in the dryer vents outside of the home, you can smell it. And
Yes.
It's ew. It's one of those ew.
Another good tip.
Yeah.
Thank you, A Mobile Detail. We appreciate you watching.
Whoever asked for that. Yes, thank you very much. I'm going to go back here and give our chili a little swirl around. And just for fun, I think I'm going to give it a taste. Let me get a little spoon here. And as I said, we have the finished product here. I'll show you again. And let's see. Da-da-da-da. Okay. You can see from yesterday's batch, which I made and we ate last night, it's a little bit different right now. But as it sits in, you can see also that it has cooked down a bit so that it's not quite as liquefied. And I'm going to go ahead and pour some into a bowl. I'll use my little bowl here and taste it. Let's see. I don't know if you can. And oh boy, I can see those jalapenos. Am I on screen? No.
You are, yes.
Hello.
Hello, you're there, yes.
Good. Ooh.
I guess depending on how much chili and hot peppers you eat, you might be alone for the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to turn that off.
Now, Ricki, chili is very filling. Do you normally serve something else with it, or is chili the whole meal?
Well, chili, you're right. Chili can be your whole meal. Or with this, actually, last night when we ate it, thank you for asking, I have some what are called Marzano tomatoes. And you don't put your tomatoes in the refrigerator, by the way. You let them sit out. You see the shapes?
Yes.
Like little torpedoes. We cut up the tomatoes, and I sliced some cabbage, and I just seasoned it with a little bit of olive oil and vinegar and salt and pepper. So we had the salad, the tomatoes, and you can do it with lettuce, you can do it with cabbage, whatever you like. Or you can do a green salad. Something like a Caesar would be a little bit too much in competing with the flavors, but just a wee bit of either olive oil and lemon juice or olive oil and vinegar and a little salt and pepper. And it makes a wonderful meal, the salad and the chili. And so I'm going to take my little bit of chili here and sprinkle some more of the green onions in there. Oops. And a little cilantro. And if you don't like cilantro, leave it out. If you don't like green onions, leave them out. As I say, this is intuitive cooking and you get to do what you like with it. But so far we've cut the recipe in half. And this is I believe it's a 4-quart pot. So what we're making is about half the recipe, but I did put in almost the same amount of seasoning that you would use for the full recipe, which leads me to believe from the taste that you could easily add a little bit more of the spices, the paprika, the cumin, and even the cayenne pepper and the oregano. It's a delicious, interesting flavor combination. So I wish I could share this with everybody.
I know. I wish that you could send the food to me. Thank you.
We have to create some sort of smell-o-vision or taste-o-vision.
I like that smell-o-vision.
Yeah. Well, if anybody has any questions, I'm here. I'm so delighted that everybody is here, and I really look forward to, in about another month, on the 18th of March, we're going to have a guest chef with me, not in my kitchen. She'll be in her kitchen. So we're uniting our kitchens. And Cynthia is Chinese, and she's going to be preparing something wonderful that's a native dish for her. She's American, but she was born in China, and she speaks Chinese, and she cooks Chinese, as well as she's also a nutritionist. And so we're having her on next month. So be sure to stay with us on these next few weeks because we will lead up to that.
That's exciting, Ricki.
Yeah.
And can you also share with our viewers what's going on with your website? I know something exciting is coming.
Thank you. Yes, very, very exciting, as a matter of fact. My website is rickiskitchen.net. It's RICKIS and then kitchen, KITCHEN. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. And what we're doing there is explaining to people a lot of why food is necessary and what it does. What happens to food when it gets inside of you and it starts to fill your system. And I even talk about things like hydration. And what I'm looking for, is my new book that will be available on the website. It's Yes, You Can Eat Well and Eat Right and Find the Joy of Cooking.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. Red O'Loughlin, who's one of your talking heads, I believe, is a publisher. So he's been helping me with this. So that will be available from the website, rickiskitchen.net. And also we will have Ricki's Kitchenware. And that's going to be a little secret. There's one picture on there now. If you're a chef or even if you're just a cook and you want to have some fun in the kitchen, there's an apron on there with an interesting saying on it. 2 words, take whisks. Because it includes this. It's a whisk. I do use whisks a lot, especially in my baking, because I find that, and I'm sure if you bake, I find that when you combine dry ingredients with a whisk, they combine much better than if you're trying to just mix them up with a spoon. So we developed my logo, which is Ricki's Kitchen, and it's food for thought. Use your head as well. So the Take Whisks apron will be available from the website, as well as a coffee mug. We're working on that now. And then I have another saying that involves knives that will be on another article of wearables and drinkables. So
that's very exciting, Ricki.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes. And what I love about it is the chance to really help people understand what food is and what food can do for them. I mean, you can take all the pills that you want in the whole wide world, and I do believe in supplementation as far as, especially today, with keeping your body healthy. I do advocate for vitamin C, vitamin D3, and zinc. Those three are very important to help you ward off all sorts of things and protect your body and boost your immune system, which is important against a lot of different things, including the flu.
And I understand, I hope I get this right, from our friend Brad O'Laughlin, who is an expert in longevity, that in order for D3 to be, what's the word?
Effective?
Thank you. There it is. You need a certain amount of magnesium. Does that sound right?
Magnesium and sometimes K2, but magnesium, absolutely. There are two things that I find with my nutrition clients that are low and sometimes not quite missing, but low enough to be ineffective in your system. D is one of them, and magnesium is another. And if you're having problems sleeping, which I know happens with a lot of people lately, we're in a system of anxiety. And so magnesium is one of those things that actually helps you calm down, along with the D3 and the C, to protect and boost your immune system. And D, by the way, is not really a vitamin. It's actually a hormone precursor, because D is important. It is an oil-soluble vitamin, which means you need fats. You need to take in fats, things like nuts and avocados, which, by the way, you can also trim the chili with an avocado if you like. But those are necessary for D to be digested and utilized in your system. So you need your good fats, as I say, nuts, avocados, salmon, good fish that has oils, the omega-3s and so forth. And if you're not getting enough of those kind of foods, add an omega-3 to your regimen of supplements, please. And consult your physician for anything as far as the levels go. And what I find is very often the RDAs, or the recommended daily amounts for the vitamins, are just enough to sustain us. And what you want in this time of boosting your immune system is a little bit more than the recommended daily allowance. A little bit more. It's very difficult to overdose on D3. You can overdose on C possibly, and make sure it's a whole vitamin C. Think of vitamin C as a wheel with spokes, and the hub in the middle is the total vitamin C, but there are lots of spokes which are components, and ascorbic acid is one of them. There are other things like rutin, hesperin, and a number of other different elements that encompass the full vitamin C. So when you're looking for your supplements, either call me, I can definitely help you with that, or look for a supplement that's a natural supplement in some place, and I don't get paid for this, Whole Foods or Sprouts, or a store that carries a higher grade of natural supplements, and look for the ones that say they're a whole food vitamin. That's what I work with. And so take your DC. If you get to the point with a separate vitamin C that you're having a little problem with a loose stool, then back off a bit. But you can take probably up to 3 to 4 to 5,000 units. That's 3, 4, 5 grams. Definitely vitamin D, and possibly C as well. And so you want your magnesium in there as well to help you calm down and sleep.
Ricki, they're great tips, and I appreciate it. I also take supplements. And here's my question for you. The supplements that I take are turmeric, apple cider vinegar, C, fish oil, and D3. And I have no problem with any of them in terms of tolerating it. But when I take a multi-purpose vitamin, it doesn't matter what brand it is, I feel completely nauseous. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
What is the cause of that? Do you know?
That's a possibility of crossover from the different ingredients. And it depends on, as I said, a high quality multivitamin can sometimes have something to which your body is not accustomed, and it will react in a not so favorable way. And when you combine a lot of vitamins and minerals in a supplement, You have to be really, really cognizant of the levels. And everybody's body is individually, biochemically individual. I mean, I'm sure Red has mentioned that. And we take things in differently. I do not take a multivitamin. There is one that I recommend that I have through my company that's been around for 90 plus years. It's not my company, it's a company I've been associated with since the mid 80s. And it was even before I got my license as a certified nutritionist. It's Standard Process. And they were the first to make vitamins and supplements from food. And food, your body knows what to do with. Other chemicals from a laboratory that is, trying to approximate a vitamin or a mineral. I really feel more comfortable with people taking a food and a food-based supplement than I do with something like that with the chemicals. So
that makes a lot of sense. I've actually stopped taking it because I just can't stand the way I feel. So,
and excuse me, but anytime your body reacts like that, stop.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like stop.
Stop. Don't hesitate. Stop. There's something with your body. Your body is feeling ill, having digestive problems, having a pain is an indication that something isn't working right. And so if you've been, it's an old story, if you've been knocking your head against a wall and you said to somebody, gee, my head hurts, stop knocking your head against the wall.
Exactly. Ricki, it's been so much fun. We have to wrap up in about 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, let's go take another look at our chili, and I will put it in a pretty bowl so it looks nice, not just my little stainless steel. Can you see what it looks like?
Yummy, yummy.
Yep. Because I know somebody who's going to be showing up for lunch shortly.
Suddenly, you'll have an assistant.
My technical advisor. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put it on there because I did turn the burner off, but it looks so pretty in a white bowl. Even though it's the winter white chili, and remember, it's what we're not putting in is tomatoes.
I love that because I can't eat tomatoes. So.
Oh, perfect. Yep. And we're going to sprinkle it with a little bit. I'm just going to put a couple pieces of the oregano on it just for fun because they're pretty. And some of our sliced green onion and a wee bit of chopped up cilantro. And I put a cherry on top, but that wouldn't quite make it. There we go.
Oh, that looks so pretty.
There's your winter white chili, and that should be a good recipe for you, Dr. Jacalyn, because there's nothing in there to which you're allergic, I hope.
No, I definitely want to make that this weekend, so I'm looking forward to getting that recipe.
Okay, and I do have, did you get the other recipe for the roasted beet soup?
I don't remember seeing it. That doesn't mean you didn't send it.
That means I have to send it. Okay, I will send it to you. And then we can post this because this is a super recipe for any time of year, but particularly when the weather is cold, this will warm you. So with that, I thank you very much. Thank you for the United Kitchens and for Dr. Jacalyn, and come on back next week.
All right, for everybody who is listening on the radio, you need to contact Ricki. Please go to her website. It's Ricki's Kitchen, and she spells Ricki, RICKIS Kitchen, KITCHEN.net. She is just launching her book. She's also launching a beautiful apron, and you get a whisk along with it. And what does it say? Something, take whisks?
Take whisks.
Take whisks. I love that. Very creative. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And everyone have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, Richard.
Yeah. I'll tell her you said it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.
See you. Oh my goodness, I'm so hungry. I don't know about you, but that looks delicious, and I look forward to making it this weekend. I haven't worked with ground turkey in a while, and I just love the combination of those ingredients and how pretty it looks as well. So thank you for engaging with us, and we appreciate you letting everyone know that we're here at usaglobaltv.com, and also our YouTube channel is USA Global TV. I can't say that enough. All right, we have 3 more shows coming today. Coming up next is The Listening Mentor, followed by Loving Longevity. And we close out the day and the week with Pet Psychic Amina. We have 22 weekly shows. Each show is a different topic. And I just love it because at the end of the week, which will be tonight, I just sit back and reflect on everything that I have learned. You could not learn in a book or 2 or 3. It would probably be 30 books. And we have people from all over the world. We had somebody yesterday from Malta and Africa. It's just amazing. And we couldn't do it without you. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for spreading the word. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV. Finally, if you'd like to be a guest, please go over to our website. What is it? I hear you. Yes, that's right. usaglobaltv.com, and go to the top and book your session. We would love to have you. Some of our programs, the co-hosts make the decisions of who the guests are based on what their specific topic is. And other shows are open to everyone. So thank you again. We look forward to seeing you in a few minutes. We'll be back in 9 minutes. Bye. Thanks, Ricki.